Hello and welcome to the news in English on Canal International. It is coming to you live as always from our studios in central Douala. Our first punctuation on the session, the headlines with Kejang Henry Atembe.
Water current sweeps 47-year-old man as he attempts to save a 7-year-old child carried by swift tides around Bepanda, Douala. The unfortunate savior of the child died as a hero after hitting his head on a concrete wall of the deep gutter. And lawyers told to respect ethics and deontology as core values of the legal profession. Robbing the image of the legal profession in mode will no longer be entertained as Mba Eric and team roll out a new roadmap for their mandate. The 6:15 news rolls out in a jiffy with anchorman Ntarike Divine Ramsey Jr.
Thanks once again for the privilege of your company as we hit the road for this other installment of the news in English. Now let's begin where we have to begin because the World Cup in Qatar is already on. Earlier on today, England made a scintillating start to their World Cup campaign by whacking Iran 6-2. The English have not won the World Cup since 1966 and they're chasing after their first trophy ever since. In Group A, Senegal and the Netherlands are about now returning to the green turf after the first 45 minutes ended in a goalless tie between both sides. The analysts are saying already that both sides have equal chances of making it through in the competition. Meanwhile, Cameroon's indomitable Lions begin their World Cup campaign on Thursday when they face the Switzerland national side in Group G. On the occasion, the head of state, President Paul Biya, has addressed a letter of encouragement to Captain Vincent Abubakar and his teammates. He says they have always shown commitment, determination and discipline every time they flew the flag of Cameroon on the continental stage. According to President Biya, Cameroon holds the reputation for writing some of Africa's most beautiful football pages on the global scene, and tradition should once again be maintained in Qatar. Back home, because the advent of major events of the caliber of the World Cup is time for opportunities for brisk business for business people in various sectors of the economy. Gladys Ambo in the following report takes us to the TV shops and repairers workshops across Douala, where she says business is witnessing an uptick as a result of the ongoing World Cup in Qatar. Here's her report.
Customers move in and out of this second-hand electronic shop situated at the Bonakwangwa neighborhood in Douala. Their goal is to purchase flat-screen television to permit them watch the World Cup competition within the comfort of their homes. But this young lady needs a projector for her father who lives in Konsamba.
I'm buying a video projector. It's because of the World Cup, because we want to watch the competition by ourselves in our environment.
According to the shop owner, this is peak period for his business, and the World Cup might just be another opportunity to make more money.
I'm not very convinced that it's a World Cup impact because this is year-end, and within year-end period of that, business is always very positive as far as sales are concerned. We have not meet up with our expectations for this World Cup, maybe because of the economic crisis in the country.
The demand for accessories of flat-screen television is equally high.
The impact is really positive. We have more customers than before because everybody wants to watch the World Cup.
At the Kamiabasi neighborhood in Douala, a big hub For television repairers, they complain customers are scarce, unlike during the periods of the African Cup of Nations.
No work no day since we Damba don't start. Work no day.
The prices of flat-screen television, however, remain constant, be it brand new or second-handed, due to tight competition in the business.
Now, just to remind you that if you're hanging out with us then, at any moment from now, we might be able to hook up with our special envoys to Qatar, Mirabo Mahab and Mark Tramo, standing by to give us the latest tidbits from the sidelines of the World Cup. In the meantime, on to this human interest bit right now, because residents of the popular Bepanda neighborhood in Douala have been in mourning mood since the weekend. They are shedding tears for a good Samaritan whose attempt to rescue a 7-year-old girl from drowning messed up, and he himself was swept away by torrential currents. Here's a report from Sherif Fasali.
After the heavy rains of the weekend, the water currents carried away an adult in Bepanda Omnispor, a locality of the Douala 5 districts, drain border between Bepanda Omnispor and Dogabati. The 47-year-old Maurice found his end when he dived to save the 7-year-old Ketista, who was dragged by the water 500 meters away.
He personally slipped off and fell into the water, and the water currents carried them both away. At that time, many people fell into the water to find them, but they couldn't. Others had the intuition to come and lay down on this bridge, sent their hands into the water to hold them back, and they succeeded with the girl, but the man slipped off.
However, the little girl recovered at the level of this bridge. The population tried to rescue him to no avail, while the water currents carried him away, where he violently hit his head against the concrete walls.
We suddenly heard cries. We told ourselves that it could be a thief, whereas it was a child who fell into the water. That a gentleman who was with his wife and his friends got up, wanting to save the child, which he succeeded in doing, but ended up losing his own life.
Maurice dies as a hero of Bepanda Omnispor, but in the neighborhood, Dieudonné has already provided a lifeline for possible drownings. Yet the population hopes that the authorities will install guardrails along the drain.
Now, this one might have happened at the weekend, but it is still making front page news as gendarmes in Tuba, a locality near Bamenda in the northwest region, successfully rescued 14 patients captured and kidnapped as they were being rushed from Bingo to Bamenda for further medical intervention. Stephanie Chin and Annie Collins say the success story was thanks to a tip-off from the population.
Acting on information from the population of Bambui in Mizam Division of the Northwest Region, the Gendarmerie Brigade in Tuba this November 18 rescued a group of 14 patients on board an ambulance belonging to the Cameroon Baptist Convention Health Services. According to the driver, he was on a routine mission conveying patients from the Bingo Baptist Hospital who have been referred to the annex in Bamenda.
They just stopped me and asked me where I'm going to. I said I'm going to Bamenda, and they said I should remove all the people I'm carrying should come down. Okay. They brought all of them. They forced the door, took the people down. The people came down. Then that's where they took me to the bush.
The Northwest Gendarmerie Legion commander and the divisional officer for Tuba have descended to meet the rescued passengers' patients at the Tuba Brigade.
Tuba Gendarmerie here was informed and immediately went on the field, on the bush, and then started chasing those terrorists. That's what really happened this morning. Unfortunate for them, they quickly saw where those patients were hidden. Even the ambulance and the driver of the ambulance. So they brought everybody.
The administrative local authorities are here, collaborate with us so that we can put an end to such happenings and give value to our lives.
Among the fried-looking passengers was a baby who had just undergone a surgical operation. The 3 gunmen hijacked the vehicle to about 3 kilometers from the main road into the bush.
Now, despite being uprooted from their ancestral lands by conflict or otherwise, refugees and displaced persons in general can still retain the capacity to contribute positively to their host communities. And apparently that's what's happening in Douala via a trade fair for refugees and vulnerable persons. D. Maureen says up next, the event also serves as a catalyst for their integration.
The fireworks is described as magical, igniting the spirit of unity and fraternity among persons of different countries and communities, mostly refugees who have chosen Cameroon as their safe haven. Even as they go through lots of challenges in getting jobs, creating businesses of their own, feeding, lodging, and many more, they still struggle to make ends meet. Exhibiting their know-how at the first ever National Fair for Refugees and Vulnerable Persons in Douala, November 18, is seen as a way of promoting and empowering the vulnerable to be self-sufficient. While opening the first ever national fair, the organizers, backed by the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, said it was imperative for all to master the laws linked to human rights and refugee protection. It was recalled refugees must be protected from racist, xenophobic violence, exploitation, all forms of maltreatment and forced labor.
The objective behind the trade fair for refugees is to show them that we can accept them in our community.
From foodstuff to well-designed cloth and many others, refugees and other vulnerable groups like widows demonstrated talent and creativity while calling on government to support them in work of arts and full integration in society.
Now, Cameroon's grass fields are known to be home to some of the country's most prolific and creative craftsmen and women. And on the occasion of the 2022 Global Entrepreneurship Week, launched in Bamenda Friday, the creativity and imaginative prowess of the experts in arts and crafts found space for showcasing. Here's a report from Bamenda.
Put on display around the premises of the Northwest Regional Assembly building in Bamenda are works of arts and crafts of diverse nature and of different localities of the Northwest region. It is at the start of the 2022 Global Entrepreneurship Week, Bamenda, placed under the auspices of the governor, represented by the head of the Social and Economic Affairs Division during Friday's opening ceremony.
Use automatic hand wash. Once you put your hand near the tap, it sends your hands and pour water for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, it will goes off and give 10 seconds for liquid to put onto.
Organized by the regional delegation of small and medium-sized enterprises, social economy and handicrafts, officials say government is not relenting in supporting craftsmen and women to diversify their works.
We have support that we are giving to our communities for them to innovate in their products, for them to start thinking about doing something different from what they are doing. Because from all indication, consumers, their taste and preference has keep on changing, and they need to make changes in their approach to strategies of production in order to meet the taste and preference that is changing from the consumer.
With the theme Innovation and Revitalization of Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, some of the articles did not go back with the fabricators, as interested and curious onlookers did some shopping to immortalize the day.
Of course, like I told you at the start of this session, the ongoing 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar is on. And on the sidelines of the competition, we have our special envoys, Mirabo Mahab and Mark Tramo. Mirabo, hi, how you doing?
Good evening, Divide Tarike, I'm alone. I'm alone because Mark Chouamo is working. Welcome to Doha. We are at the Al Toumama Stadium. You are listening to the crowd, the public, because the encounter against Netherlands. But we continue in French, my friend. C'est pour parler évidemment des Lions indomptables parce qu'il faut parler de ce premier match de l'Afrique dans cette édition de 2022 de la Coupe du Monde de football 0-0 entre le Sénégal, champion d'Afrique en titre, et les Pays-Bas. C'est le stade Al Toumama. Mais non loin de là, en début d'après-midi, nous avons vécu la séance d'entraînement des Lions indomptables du Cameroun. 48 heures ou 72 heures même avant leur entrée en compétition face à la Suisse. Mais nous avons surtout vécu cette séance mini-conférence de presse juste après avec le sélectionneur adjoint Sébastien Migné et l'un des défenseurs les plus en vue dans cette sélection nationale, à savoir Jean-Charles Castelletto. Les deux hommes sont revenus sur la volonté des Lions indomptables d'enchaîner les 7 matchs pour la première couronne mondiale. C'est une journée un peu chargée pour l'équipe de Canal international qui est arrivée ici sous les coups de 2 heures ce matin, a pris ses quartiers avant de commencer à travailler et surtout pour vous offrir les meilleures images de cette édition 2022 de la Coupe du Monde. Divine Tarique, évidemment, on va venir sous les coups de 19h50 dans le grand format de l'actualité pour reparler de cette séance d'entraînement des Lions indomptables. C'était la toute première ouverte à la presse et surtout revenir sur les déclarations de Sébastien Migné et de Jean-Charles Castelletto face aux hommes de médias. 72 heures Al Toumama Stadium. You come to you end the news and you will be back for the rest of the actuality.
Of course, thanks sincerely, and thanks for your prowess out there, Mirabeau. I hope you'll be having more of such interventions in the courses of every day, as long as the games are ongoing in Qatar. Thanks once again, Mirabeau, Mahop, and of course you're there with Mark Chouamo for the moment. The other crew members are going to be catching up with you as the days go by. And that's how we replace the lead on this other installment of the news in English, of course, with that intervention in French for tonight. See you at 1950 when Alain Ghislain Kanga comes up with more news in French. Mirabeau Mahop and Mark Chouamo will also have an intervention in there, so don't you go away. Right behind me, the debrief is coming with a focus on the energy crisis across Cameroon. Bye-bye.